Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast.
One of my favorite scouting concepts or terms is the wide receiver plus. These wide receiver players that, can do everything a wide receiver could do, but their wide receiver plus is in the fact that they're almost like tight ends. The blocking, the physicality, the physically imposing their will against DBs, linebackers, even defensive ends. There is no one that fits that in the NFL more than number 8 on our 49ers roster countdown, Jauan Jennings. Dude is just a beast, but he's not practicing. As of the recording of this segment, he is still, quote-unquote, injured, but I think it's much more of a contract issue. Not to say that he did not injure his calf. That's not what I'm saying at all. I am saying the fact that he's not even out on the practice field until recently, doing slight rehab work. It's a contract issue, and he has made that decision. That is my own personal interpretation of the situation. I'm not an insider, but it's kind of weird, and it does seem like this is going to be the last year of Jauan Jennings with the 49ers. Not so much because I want Jauan Jennings gone. That's not it at all. It's just reading the tea leaves. The 49ers paid Brandon Ayuk. Shouldn't have. I was one of the ones that was saying, dude, pay Jauan Jennings a cheap contract, value contract, move on. Do not pay top-tier money for Brandon Ayuk, who I love Brandon Ayuk, but you paid him like he was a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. He is not that. And then the injury and the drama and all that stuff, but Jauan Jennings got drama too. But you could have got a value deal. So you look at the 49ers roster, Ayuk is now signed for another 4 seasons. Ricky Pearsall has 4 more seasons under contract if you use the 5th-year option. Demarcus Robinson is poised to be the wide receiver 3 for this year and next year. Jacob Cowing, young guy, can he develop? Jordan Watkins showed a lot of promise early. Can he stay healthy and develop? That's your wide receiver room moving forward. The 49ers have built this roster on compensation picks and developing these late-round guys, which Jauan Jennings was a 7th-round pick. And then whenever they leave and get paid, you get the compensation pick and you bolster your roster. Younger and cheaper is the Jed York mantra for 2025. It's just what it is. And so it fits into that. And I love Jauan Jennings. I wish that he would stay. But I do not want to pay the $12 to $16 million, might even get more than that, on the open market for Jauan Jennings. What's that role going to look like long term? You have so much salary cap wrapped up in the wide receiver position. You're paying Ayuk so much, such a bad contract. But Jauan Jennings has flourished, and last year was a breakout year. You just look at the 49ers roster countdown. 2022, he was 25th. 2023, he was 24th. Last year, he was 25th, but then all the injuries happened. Now he's all the way up to 8th, the highest he has been at any point in the 4 seasons we've done these roster countdowns. Where's jersey number 15? Everybody knows him as 3rd and Jauan. That is awesome, and he always shows up in the most clutch moments. 6'3", 215, big wide receiver. 31-inch arms, that's interesting. He just turned 28 just a month ago. So, right at that 28-year, like if you're going to sign him long-term, a 30-year wide receiver that is slow to start with. He ran a 4.72. That's the bottom 2 percentile of all wide receivers. Like, he is slow, but that's not how he wins. He wins with physicality. He wins with craftiness, really good at stemming his routes, all those things. 158, 10-yard, not awful. 29-inch vertical, terrible, bottom 2%. 9'11 broad jump, all right. Going into his 6th season. But this is kind of a weird season because is he the one? And what happens when Ayuk comes back? That's kind of the thing. When Ayuk comes back and Ricky Pearsall, let's just assume, kind of stakes that number 2. Is Jauan Jennings just going back to being a number 3 in the slot wide receiver only that only gets 20 snaps a game? 49ers run the fewest 11 personnel sets, the fewest 3 wide receiver sets in the NFL. What is the long-term role here? I don't see it. I want Jauan Jennings to go get paid elsewhere. I want Jauan Jennings to go to be a number 2 wide receiver elsewhere. Like, teams would be happy to have that. There's guys like Mike Vrabel in this league that would love to have him right now. Jim Harbaugh would love to have. The 49ers would love to have him. But the way that you've constructed this roster, the position's kind of already spoken for, younger and cheaper. From Murfreesboro, Tennessee, spent many summers there building apartments with my dad. Blackman High School, and he was a basketball stud. His whole family, basketball and elite athletes. He played basketball in high school, won a state championship. He was a top 200 basketball recruit. Averaged 12.3 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists in a game. And his family, dad's a 4-year letterman at the University of Northern Alabama. He's in UNA's Hall of Fame. He was a first-team All-American 3 years in a row. Absolute stud. Older sister played college basketball at Kentucky and South Carolina. You're talking 2 of the top 5 programs. To a second-team All-SEC honors. And now back to Jauan Jennings. He was a quarterback. He was a quarterback in high school, threw for over 2,000 yards, 22 touchdowns, led his team to a state championship as a quarterback in safety. He was Mr. Tennessee football. Mr. in 2014. Like, this dude could do whatever the hell he wanted to. And Alabama wanted him, Penn State wanted him, Ohio State wanted him. He chose to stay home at Tennessee, goes there as a quarterback recruit, transitions as a freshman to wide receiver. And funny enough, guess who his quarterback was? Pastor-not Josh Dobbs, one of the greatest college football plays of all time. Type in Hail Mary, Tennessee. You'll see the Josh Dobbs walk-off Hail Mary touchdown to Jauan Jennings. Literally one of the best college football plays of all time. Now, his college career was checkered. And in the past, whenever we do this background rundown on Jauan Jennings, we would always say, yeah, well, this is behind him. I don't know if it is now. He got kicked off of Tennessee for what he put out there on social media. He made fun of the coaches, calling the coaches, quote, fake, lying snakes, and the coaches were holding them back, and to bring us a coaching staff that's honest, end quote. Coaching staff kicked him off. Everything kind of hit the fan. All the coaches get fired, not because of him. There's a lot of bad things going on. New coaching staff gets hired. They bring him back. Sure enough, he's a captain, has a great senior year, gets drafted. He was on the Biletnikoff Award watch list, Senior Bowl selection. Niners love that. And whenever he left Tennessee, 5th all-time in receptions, touchdowns, and 4th in yards. This dude had a hell of a college career. He's just slow. And so in today's NFL, speed kills. And not a lot of people gave him a chance. The 49ers took him in the 7th round. And, if we just look at where he was drafted, it's funny because the 49ers, it wasn't even one of their original picks. They traded Eli Harrell, the pass rusher, to the Detroit Lions for that 7th pick, and turned around and took Jauan Jennings in the 2020 draft in the 7th round. He was the 33rd wide receiver selected. You look at that draft class now, he has the 10th most receiving yards. I freaking love that. Just under 2,000 total yards, but again, he almost had 1,000 yards last year by himself, by that season by himself. He's become one of the most popular 49ers players out there. 3rd in Jauan. Just the toughness, everything that he brings. It's the epitome of old school football, which you got to love. Amazing blocker, extremely physical. He'll fight. He draws penalties all the time. And he does the same thing in practice. You'll be out there at training camp, and anytime there's a dust-up, 1-5 is going to be involved some way or another. Now, he just smiles, and you can always see him with his dyed hair, whether it's red, green, blue, whatever. Personality off the charts. Just high-energy guy and just fun as hell. Now, he's a wide receiver leader and kind of a character leader in the room, but he wants to be paid and reflected as that. And I don't know if this process he's going through is the best thing for him, but he's fighting for generational wealth. And who are we to say? And you look, he's made $10 million in his career, $10.4 million. This dude is on the cusp of getting a $12 to $18 million per year. This contract matters. That is generational wealth that he can achieve for his family. I get it. I wish the Niners would just bump him an extra $2.5 million fully guaranteed into the last year of his deal and say, look, we're going to let you move on and get paid, but we want you to be happy. Let's get out there and start practicing. But it doesn't seem like the 49ers are going to budge. I hope that I am wrong. Now, you look at just what he's accomplished in his career. His first year, didn't play at all and got cut. Had a hamstring, real bad hamstring, never played, gets cut, brought back to the practice squad. They signed him to a future contract in 2021, finally wins that wide receiver kind of 3 job, 24 catches, 2021 year, 24 catches, 282 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 start in 16 games. And, his best game was that Week 18 game against the Rams. We were there. I was there with the 49ers Rush Road Trip. We were there. And that was like, if you don't win, you go home. And he goes out there and has his best game up to that year. 6 catches, 94 yards, 2 touchdowns. A game-tying touchdown. It was awesome. Then you go to overtime and you win it with the walk-off interception. 2022, his second year, 35 catches, 460 yards, 1 touchdown. 4 starts, played in 16 games. 2023, the year the Niners go to the Super Bowl, 19 receptions, 265 yards, 1 touchdown. But then he gets to the Super Bowl and probably would have been Super Bowl MVP. Had that touchdown pass to CMC, 21-yard touchdown pass. Had a 10-yard touchdown reception, and is one of only 2 players in Super Bowl history to have a touchdown pass and a touchdown reception. He had 4 catches, 42 yards in that Super Bowl as well. Probably would have been Super Bowl MVP if the 49ers won. They didn't. The rest is history. Okay? And now you know the rest of the story. Anyway, then 2024, the injuries to Ayuk, Debo's not affected. Ricky Pearsall gets shot. The 49ers have to rely. They changed Jauan Jennings to an X, dire straits mode, and he proved he could do it. 77 receptions. 77. More than he had done in the previous 4 years combined. 77 catches on 113 targets, 975 yards. Should have hit 1,000. That Cardinals game, I was there. I was really pissed off. He just blocked too hard, played too tough, and, got 2 personal foul penalties, which was a joke, and got, kicked out in the first half and just would have been able to eclipse 1,000. I hate that happened for him. 12.7 yards per catch, 6 touchdowns, started 10 games, played in 15. And probably the best game of his career was the Rams game last year. Somehow the 49ers still lost. He had 11 catches, 175 yards, and 3 touchdowns in that very first Rams game. First time since Jerry Rice that a 49ers wide receiver had over 10 catches, over 150 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Dude was unbelievable. And then the Bears game shortly after that, 7 catches, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like, he was the number 1 last year, period. Not the vertical field stretcher that you usually get with the next wide receiver, but it doesn't matter. You got to have somebody out there you can trust Jauan. You can trust him. Now, what are you going to get this year? You going to play? Is he injured? What happens when Ayuk comes back halfway through the year or November? Ideally you want Jauan Jennings is your X. You want Ricky Pearsall as your Z, and then you want Demarcus Robinson as kind of your number 3. And when you go 3 wide receiver sets, you put Demarcus Robinson at the X, kick Jauan Jennings into the slot like he's used to. But Jauan Jennings you want out there. Who knows what is going to happen with this 49ers wide receiver room? Almost the whole damn room's injured or has been injured. You got to get Jauan Jennings out there. And I hope that he signs, gets a little bit extra money. I don't think it's going to be a long-term deal. But I love this dude, and he deserves it all. I wish they would come to a compromise on just bumping up his guaranteed money this year, kind of like what they did with Raheem Mostert about 4 years ago. Make him happy. Let him go sign elsewhere. Get that kind of 4th to 5th round comp pick back whenever you lose him, and allow him to be a wide receiver too, which he is not going to be with the 49ers. He's not. Love you, JJ. You're a stud. But we got to get you out there practicing and getting ready for the season. He's the number 8. Number 8 on most important 49ers player for the 2025 season. And he's not out there. That is a killer. I have to say thank you to Josh, executive producer of today's show. And for us and the 49ers Rush team, we're going to keep counting them down.